Memorial Day. Happy Memorial Day. And what it stands for is where we say a good thing to the rest of the world. Now let's move on with the ROST Stores monthly chart. ROST Stores is what we call a monthly overbought stock at 94.63%. Retail has done extremely well. The thing about what we are looking for the new MMTs is when things hit a certain overbought level, that the exuberance is getting into the high end of the side of the name. So the high on 5-1 was 83.11, and we called this as a short. The low was 72.46 on a monthly level now. That was the monthly low, and then the monthly high was 83.11 right here. And from bottom up, and we can also be on alert that when we start on a daily and weekly and we start to see the weakness build in ROST Stores, because on a monthly chart at 94.63%, it's going to come down, and we're going to look on how we can profit with that and why. And, why do retail itself, the retail sector, why does this retail sector right here, why does this retail sector trade different than most names? We'll go into that at a later date. It does, and what we're going to do is we're going to take the most overbought, which is ROST Stores. We have a couple of other ones on a weekly chart that are overbought that we're going to cover. Amory, Cromrie, and Fitch. And remember, all of these stocks have executed. Their business models have worked. It's not about that. It's about that they're overbought. And we can continue to get more overbought. We're 92.38% on a monthly level here. On a weekly level, it's close to the same thing. However, when you get to these key levels and you've had great monthly buy signals, they were great off of the bottom. They trade good at support levels as well on the individual names. However, it's going into that category and that criteria, MMTs. So therefore, we're going to watch throughout the month of June. Tomorrow the market opens up, and we're going to be watching these names June, July, and August. Those are the 3 key months that retail, we're going to see how retail executes across America and how these publicly traded companies are doing on their earnings. Remember, we'll get involved in the fundamentals at another time. There are other ones that are overbought. AutoZone, which is executed really well, is also getting in this overbought zone at 95.65%. Great runs. Everyone's getting in at the top. We're going to have a pullback at some point. It won't happen probably when you want it to, other than we look at how to set the alerts so that when they start to weaken up in the daily and the 60-minute chart, and then finally weekly review on each name that's up here. AutoZone is a prime candidate. Another good executor would have been the Best Buy, which has already started its monthly overbought process. We can see here at the very high that this particular reading was at 88.71. Okay? Because that's what it was in 4-1. So it's already started its peak from its high here at 57.90, and the following month's low was 53.05. So it's not like it had a big drop. It's not designed to have a big drop. It's how you, on an intraday level, using the 3-minute chart, when they make their high, you sell short because they're going to reverse. You take a profit and come out. So we're just looking at some of these scenarios that you need to be aware of. Costco was a short that we had covered on the website, and there's a monthly doji when this was on the list, and it's still, they're all in their first phases. This is a monthly narrow range move, very indecisive. And you know what? They can end in a bad way. If they start to gap down, going in the first week of June or July or August. It doesn't matter. They're overbought, and it's already getting wore out up here. When they get too overbought, the upside is very limited. Costco is still in there. I think GameStop is another one, GME. This is where the gamers have been out spending some money. And on a monthly level, let's take a little look here. It's, some of these percent DSs are quite different than others, but it is at 71%. The previous month was 59, so it's been working its way up. This monthly low on GameStop was 24.55, and the high was 28.66 for that one there. Let's take a look at the higher end retailer over here. Nordstrom's reported earnings, and I know that all of the retailers have executed well. It's not a question of that. It's a question that we're getting top-heavy overbought up here. This one's at 84%, and they trade good. When they come down intraday, they hit the bottom and they bounce. They'll hit the top and they'll kind of roll over. The actual trading ranges, though, won't be real great. And what does that mean? This is the actual trading ranges on the day on some of these. That was $1.49. AutoZone had $2.97. These are the ranges. $1. We like things at least $1 and higher. Tiffany right here had $1.58. That's from either shorting the top down to support or buying at support and going up $1.58. Works both ways. Let's take a look at Tiffany. Whoa! Tiffany's been on fire. Look at that. But we do know that this sector is how to identify tops before they come down. You're at 92.54% DS here and now, MMTs. And as they continue, the longer they stay up there, remember that the upside is still there. They bounce off support, and at resistance, though, at resistance levels in the platform, in the MMT platform, those intraday resistance levels are going to be short entries, because you'll see when we actually do them live with you. We've already been doing quite a few of these. Let's take a look at another one that I could say that we could look at would be, let's take a look at AutoNation. Let's take a look at the AutoNation here. It made a peak right here in this month, and this is called AN. And the name of it is AutoNation Inc. And we've been putting in a 3-month top over here. So let's just take a look at where we were breaking out hard over here and consolidating these monthly highs and the lows in here, and how we broke out and how we're getting weak up here. So look, at 91% new MMTs is that this is the retail training sector. Retail sector indices with names that are within the index, So 91.3, and we've started some distribution, but they love to bounce off that support level. However, weakness in the monthly area is starting to build. We'll be watching this for the next 3 months, and we'll watch it weekly level. We'll set alarms in some of these things that are doing that. Sears Holdings is one that at times can be very volatile. It's already started its correction here. This is what happened when Sears Holdings, and let's give you an example of overbought. At this particular time back in 2010, which was 4/1 of 2010, this thing was at 87% on percent DS up here. And it's a public indicator, but look what happened. It came down, then it consolidated ascending monthly consolidations forever, but look at this monthly reversal. So Sears Holdings, a little bit different type of company in fundamentals. It doesn't matter. It's not overbought. It's down here at 28%. So this is one that when it does hit support, lower support levels, is where we would look at buying this, because it's going to go from where its peak was over here a year ago at 87, and now after all of these months it's down to 28.02 here. So the lower the number, the more oversold it gets, as we understand it. But this one here, if it breaks below 70.83, we don't have any more support until we get down here on the Sears holding. This is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 month consolidation that did break out up here to this current reversal. This is what we look for. That's 4 weeks equals a month, 20 trading days. And that's the kind of stuff that we look for. It starts daily, then it transfers into weekly. Then, of course, that is the full monthly May result for Sears Holdings Corp. So somewhere in here, we've got some key levels as far as public standard technical analysis. Sears Holdings, if it ever did get a monthly buy signal, boy, it sure does have a lot. This is that blue bar right here. That's called a MACD. That's another public indicator. So keep your eyes on Sears Holdings, because Sears Holdings is in trouble right now. And as they go below these key monthly moving averages, that means that even weakness is building in there. So we're going to find out somewhere where this sets up. But traditionally, June, July, and August is weak for retail. I'm going to come back on the next video. I've given the MMTs. This is the MVR.X. And once again, that's this. This is the Morgan Stanley Retail Index, and that's all the stocks in there. And we pick and choose. We go through 16 various different type of sectors and look for these great bull rallies that have made their top, but they're going to pull back. During that pullback, you can make money selling short that pullback MMT on an intraday level, because they're going to get to a point where over the next few weeks and thereafter, these names are going to continue. They have to work that overbought process off. They're not going to stay up there forever.